This is a 2012 MacBook Pro, so there is the brand new out-of-the-box MacBook Pro. Let's go ahead and power this thing on. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? It's been a very long time since I unboxed and got a brand new MacBook Pro, and I'm beyond excited to unbox the 2020 MacBook Pro 13-inch. It's been like 8 years, and I'm super excited to see what the MacBook Pro has to offer. A lot's changed, a lot's different. Apple's running a promotion right now where with any iPad or Mac that you buy for education, you also can get free AirPods. However, you only get the base model for free, the regular AirPods, so if you want to upgrade to the Pros, you can do that, but you're going to have to pay the difference for it, which I think was somewhere around $90. Among the biggest thing that changed are ports. There's a lot less ports to choose from on the new MacBook Pros, so you're going to want to get an adapter if you have any USB Type-A accessories or anything that you use besides USB-C, because this computer only comes with USB-C ports. My previous MacBook is not in great condition. I mean, you literally can just take the back off like that without putting much effort into it at all. Oh, wow, I haven't seen this in a while looking so good. Yeah, it's not looking so good. Honestly, I have to say this computer held out for a long time, but I'm ready to get something new. Generally speaking, people don't really like to upgrade their MacBooks all too often. It's kind of different than something like an iPhone. So if you're upgrading your computer for the first time in a while, it's going to last you a while. So you want to make sure for what you're doing, you have the right amount of storage, the right amount of RAM. If you're somebody that's just using it for word processing, you're not going to need much RAM. But for somebody that's using it for video editing, obviously you're going to need more power. So now we're just going to pull this pull tab. And the plastic comes off like so, and now we can get into the box. And there's the computer itself. I have to say, it looks really nice, and it's very different than what I'm used to. And now we can just pull this tab in here to actually take the computer out. Coming from a 2012 MacBook, this is a lot thinner and a lot lighter than what I'm used to, and it's a really nice design overall. And a lot of people that have a newer MacBook probably are looking at this video saying, there's not that much that's new. But comparatively, between the old computer I used to have, the 2012 model, and now, a lot is different. Here we have a general user guide of the computer itself, and then we also have Apple stickers, which seem to be space gray, which is a really cool detail because it matches the color of the computer. Older models didn't have this and just came with a standard white. Pretty cool attention to detail. We also have our power cable as well, which has definitely changed. It's USB-C to C, and that is a big departure from the old MagSafe connector. The MagSafe connector was cool because it magnetically connected to the computer, and if you tripped over it, it would just kind of come out. Instead of a proprietary MagSafe connector, Apple just decided to include a standard USB-C to C cable. Here's the power adapter, which plugs in through USB-C, and again, here's the computer. It looks awesome. And now we're going to remove the plastic off of the computer itself. And now, opening it up, it boots right to the Apple logo, and it looks great. I'm really excited for this computer in particular because Apple had this new keyboard initiative, the butterfly keyboard, that they tried to sort of make work. And there was a lot of issues with it. It really didn't go right. A lot of people were complaining. A lot of people had a lot of problems. And Apple was like, okay, we'll sort of make a compromise. And they sort of fixed it. And this version, while it feels slightly different than my 2012 MacBook keyboard, it does feel definitely a lot better than the 2019 keyboards did and earlier. One thing that always stuck out to me on the older computers is that the Apple logo lit up. Unfortunately, I was disappointed to see that that's not the case for this one, and it's been that way for a little while, but I just wish they would have brought that back. This is the 13-inch MacBook Pro version with a 1TB SSD of storage and also 16GB of RAM. It also has the 2.0 GHz quad-core Intel Core i5 processor. It's really nice so far. Honestly, I didn't expect to get the pros, but here we are. I'm really excited about this. Let's go ahead and get into this. I'm gonna pull the pull tab here. And opening up the box here, we have the usual stuff with the health and safety guides and the instructional guide on how to use the AirPods and that type of thing. And obviously the biggest selling point about the Pros versus the regular AirPods model is the whole transparency thing. And also, obviously, noise cancellation as well. Let's go ahead and get the AirPods out of the box. And as you can see, here is the AirPods Pro case. It looks pretty similar to the regular AirPods case, and there's not that much of a difference. It's just a slightly different shape, and the AirPods Pros are shorter than the regular AirPods. But the custom fit is also a really big sell for this version as well, because there's a lot of people with the original AirPods that it wouldn't really sit right in their ear, or it would feel like it was falling out. We also, again, have another USB-C to C cable included. And now let's go ahead and get the plastic off of the AirPods. And flipping up the case, here are the AirPods Pro. Looks pretty cool. In the software itself, you actually can take a test to find out which ear tip gives you the best overall seal. So this way they're gonna feel more secure in your ears. So here's a comparison of the overall design with the AirPods regular edition versus the AirPods Pro, and you can see it looks distinctively different. The stem is a bit shorter on the Pros, and when they're in your ears, it doesn't look completely weird. I also had to pick up an adapter as well because this computer only has USB-C ports. The microphone that I'm using right now to record my voice is actually USB Type A, and I wouldn't be able to do this video on this new MacBook without buying this adapter. So that's something important to understand if you're upgrading computers and you have a lot of USB Type A devices and accessories. You're gonna have to get an adapter. The adapter I'm showing you guys right now has a USB Type A port, an HDMI port, and an SD card slot reader. Obviously, like everything else, there's various third-party brands that have adapters that you could actually buy, or maybe everything you own has USB-C, so maybe it's not a big deal and maybe you don't need an adapter, but for most people, a lot of people still use USB Type A, and it's unfortunate that Apple this time around did not have it on their computer. Opening the computer up, we see a familiar startup screen, but things look a little bit different this time around than they would on a 2012 era MacBook, because this time around we have Apple's very own Touch ID sensor. I've only ever used Touch ID on an iPhone, so running this on a Mac was actually really cool. Now obviously, just like an iPhone and just like on iOS, you can use it to unlock the device. You also can use it to authenticate purchases through Apple Pay or whatever you want to do. And seeing this technology in a Mac makes me realize that it's not as antiquated as people think it is to be even on an iPhone at this point. It's kind of crazy that Apple hasn't reintroduced Touch ID in display. Maybe they're waiting for the technology to be absolutely perfect, and we keep hearing that rumor and it hasn't happened yet. But honestly, I would love to have both Touch ID and Face ID on an iPhone. So I've been using this MacBook Pro for around a week now, and here's my thoughts. My old 2012 MacBook I've had for so long now, and I love that computer. I love the way that the backlight actually shines through on the Apple logo, and it just looks super nice, and it's a shame that they got rid of that on newer computers. I love the old keyboard design, and this keyboard is definitely a lot better than the original butterfly keyboard that they introduced, because that caused all kinds of issues. The reality of the situation is I had my other computer for so long that I think it's going to take a little bit more than a week for me to get fully adjusted to having a brand new computer. I love the convenience of Touch ID on this one, and it's great. Instead of having to type out my password fully, I can just go ahead and use Touch ID to get in, and it's great, it works, and it's super convenient and super fast. I always saw the touch bar, especially when it got introduced, as a cool little gimmick and probably nothing that was really going to actually help me in any substantial way. But here and there are some things that I find myself doing on the touch bar instead of just doing it on the computer. Final Cut seems to be a lot smoother on this computer, but obviously there's also a reason why. This computer is spec'd to the point where it's gonna run pretty well. It has a terabyte of SSD storage, and it's also got 16 gigabytes of RAM. When I got my older computer, I had no idea that YouTube was gonna even remotely be something that I was interested in doing, and so I got basically the baseline model of the MacBook Pro at that point. It was the lowest spec version, and I didn't realize that editing was going to be one of my main focus points as it is now. Apple very soon is going to be making their own in-house custom Apple Silicon Macs, and the question is, should you wait for that? Is that something you should wait for to upgrade, especially if you're like me and you've been waiting for a very long time to upgrade? Well, it really depends. If it's Apple's hardware as well as Apple's software, there probably will be some level of optimization that can be done to ensure that there is better performance and overall stability. The performance leap could be crazy, but then again, that could also cut into the cost, and it could wind up costing more for you to get a newer computer than it is right now. And honestly, if you really do have to buy a new computer because of the school year and because of everything that's going on in the world right now, and you might need a new computer to use Zoom, to use different ways to communicate with people, it might just make sense to buy a computer now. Anyway guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. I hope you did enjoy. If you enjoyed, please make sure to hit that like button. Also, go ahead and subscribe and turn that post notification bell on so that way you never miss out on a brand new upload. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Have a good one, guys. Peace.